You ask anybody who watches the beautiful game, and they'll probably tell you the same thing. El Clásico is the biggest game that the sport has to offer, and well, we got to enjoy another one. It had everything, something for everybody: goals, skills, controversy, late drama. There is enough to talk about for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, but I'm going to try to be concise in my match review here because today, welcome to episode 689 of the Barcelona podcast, brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I am Dan Hilton, and firstly and foremost, thanks everybody who joined me and enjoyed this game with me on bigup.com/the Barcelona pod. I will have the Espanol watch along, so please subscribe for free as a member on Big Up to also get in the chat with me, as well as subscribing to these 5 headlines. All year long, I've been doing these both on YouTube as well as on Patreon for as low as $3 without the ad. So I appreciate everybody for helping out. Again, subscribing to the channel, leaving a like and a comment, the easiest way to help me, as well as giving a good rating on the podcast apps or follow me anywhere on social media. All right, I made you wait long enough. So here it is, the 5 headlines from Barcelona's 4-3 win. And those numbers definitely could have changed. We'll be talking about that aplenty. But yes, it was just 4-3 in El Clásico. Headline 1 is not the start you want. Even though Pedri celebrated with the Player of the Month award in front of that home crowd in Montjuic, the match did not kick off the way Barcelona wanted because already in the 4th minute, you were looking at a 1-0. Yeah, we're diving right into a goal here. Offside or penalty? That was the question. Chesney brings down Mbappe in the box, and the way this is built by Real Madrid, it's Ceballos from a deeper position, and he winds up feeding Mbappe on a mistake from Cubarsí. So Cubarsí winds up getting a piece of it, and that, they say, it's a deflection that keeps Mbappe onside. So because they said it was a new play once Cubarsí had touched it, and then Mbappe able to keep his balance. And this was an early worrying sign, not just because obviously Mbappe converts the penalty to make it 1-0, but also because in October at the Bernabeu, Mbappe was offside 8 times. So for him to be onside in the first look, that was a worrying sign for Barcelona because it meant that Mbappe might have learned something here, and he certainly knows how to put the PKs home. He hits about 80% of them. So yeah, it's 1-0 in the early going against Barcelona. 8th minute, Lamine Yamal finds the ball for the very first time, and Eric Garcia, who was good in this game, they get a wall pass off, and Eric Garcia forces a save from Courtois. And the 14th minute kind of had to reset, almost 15 minutes in, and Pedri, Olmo, Lamine Yamal, they hadn't really been on the ball at all. And this is a credit to Real Madrid and how Ancelotti set up his team to potentially succeed here. In the first 15 minutes, Madrid were all too happy to absorb pressure, sit back, and basically play in a 5 at the back at times when Barcelona had possession, and then trying to get out quickly on the counter. Valverde was also man-marking Olmo, which basically snuffed him out of the game, and I would say for most of the game. So Barcelona also couldn't really build anything to the middle unless it was from a deeper position coming from the feet of Pedri. And they were also, as we know, crowding out with Bellingham, that side with Lamine Yamal. Eric Garcia was given time and space on the ball, and I thought he was good with it, which is one of the reasons Barcelona won this game. But Real Madrid were willing to say, hey, Gerard Martin, Eric Garcia, even Frankie de Jong with the ball, you guys beat us because we're not going to let the guys who we know how to do special things to the ball beat us. Lamine Yamal finally does get in the ball in the 14th minute, but they say no foul on Valverde in the buildup, and the other way, Real Madrid go up 2-0. It's Vinny Jr., he finds Mbappe running in behind Cubarsí, clearly onside this time, and then Mbappe calmly finishing 1v1 against Chesney. So yeah, we're 14 minutes in. Mbappe's already got a brace. Things are not looking good for Barcelona. I will remind you, not looking good for Barcelona at that moment. But what I've been telling you all season long, when it comes to Hansi Flick's Barca, just calma. Headline 2 is tremendous turnaround. I could also say that this is a remontada. It's another one for Barcelona, and another one, deja vu. It seems like when you punch Barcelona in the mouth, you better check your own cheek because you're about to get one right in between, maybe even between the eyes, on the nose. I don't know. I broke my nose too many times. No thank you to that one. But yes, Barcelona again putting Real Madrid to the sword. Again, a remontada, and this one happens in the first half. In the 17th minute, Lamine Yamal on the half volley. Courtois pushes it wide, but Barcelona was starting to build at that point. 19th minute, then Gerard Martin, a long shot that was goal bound. It's a rocket of a shot, one of the best I've seen come off Gerard Martin's foot. And all of that pressure, you know how Barcelona is. They either make their chances and they wind up getting the goals, or they've got to create a ton of them to finally put one home. So at least Here's the positive. They hadn't scored until that, up until the 20th minute, but that shot from Martin leads to a corner, and it's a 2-1. It's Eric Garcia again. Torres heading it on, and Eric gets in front of Asensio right on Courtois' doorstep. It's an assist to Ferran Torres. Put a pin in that because it was not going to be the only one. And Eric Garcia, what can I say about Eric? I spoke about it in the preview of this game, even with the football weekend, that I've been in Eric Garcia's corner, and he is thriving in that inverted right back role that Koundé has under Hansi Flick. Yes, but he also began understanding this role at Girona while on loan last season. So Eric Garcia was becoming this player. And when everybody discarded him when he was 22 as a center back that couldn't make the grade at a leaky Barcelona side and Man City side that was playing with a lot of risk, totally get that. But he's not that player anymore. He has evolved. He's more experienced, and he's playing really well under Hansi Flick. I would love to keep him around. And when we're talking about the transfer stuff, not enough time here to speak about, but I wouldn't go after another right back. I think the last 3 months have showed you that Eric Garcia can be the backup, and then Hector Fort is a different kind of option. If he wants to go out on loan and get more playing time, that's fine with me. I wouldn't sell Hector Fort. He's just 18 years old. But right now, that right back spot with Koundé, Eric Garcia, and Hector Fort looks pretty good, and I would not bring in another fullback on that side, at least. Gerard Martin, I don't talk about him much in the rest of this 5 headlines, so I'll mention it now. He wasn't bad in this game. He wasn't particularly good. He wasn't a difference maker. I thought that Vasquez got the best of him at times, but he also served the purpose he needed to. He made enough interceptions. He stretched the field wide enough, and he delivered a few balls into dangerous areas to make at least Real Madrid think about it and respect him, which is what you need to do. Do I think he's a long-term answer as a backup to Balde? No, I do not. You saw when Balde came on, the difference, as much as it has been a stark difference, you saw the difference in quality when Balde came on the field. So yeah, Martin is not the long-term answer there, to my opinion, but they also, that being Barcelona, have done a lot worse this season than bringing him up from Barca Athletic. 22nd minute, the Barcelona pressure continuing. So they did not rest on their laurels when they got just one back. It's almost cross goal to Gerard Martin. They look at Rafinha getting pulled down, but they don't give it. Cannot find the foot of a Barca player. It's unfortunate for Barca. In the 29th minute, Valverde, he doesn't pick up his second yellow from that foul from earlier, even though this is a foul on Yamal that picks up just one yellow. In the 32nd minute, still more pressure for Barcelona, leads it to 2-2. Madrid, they want a handball on De Jong in the build-up. That will be something that Real Madrid TV will be talking about. I promise you, if you tend to watch Real Madrid TV, I don't know who would if you're watching me, but the ref doesn't give it. Barcelona keep it in Madrid's end of the field, and it's Pedri pushing up through the middle to Torres. He lays off for Lamine Yamal for his second assist, and Lamine Yamal finishes with his favorite left foot, finds a space, picks his corner. Nothing to worry about for Lamine Yamal. Now 3 goals and 2 assists in 4 matches versus Real Madrid at the age of 17. I can't tell you the records he's going to be putting up in El Clásico, but it feels like he's going to have a few. Those are outrageous numbers as a teenager in El Clásico. When you talk about pressure, Lamine Yamal is already in the top pantheon of players for Barcelona who don't deal with any pressure in Real Madrid. If you want to be a forward at Barca, you can't deal with that pressure. And he has been fine both at the Bernabeu and at Montjuic against Real Madrid in his Barcelona career so far. And just 2 minutes later in the 34th minute, Lamine Yamal doesn't have to do anything for the third goal because Real Madrid make enough of a mistake where Barcelona don't have much to do. They just have to pick the ball up. It's Mbappe and Ceballos in miscommunication in midfield off the kickoff. If I'm a Real Madrid fan, I am incensed because this basically didn't put the game to bed. Obviously, both teams would score more goals, but this is the goal that winds up being, in theory, the winner because Real Madrid finished with one less goal than Barcelona. Pedri grabs it. It's a through ball to Rafinha, and then as easy as you like, Barcelona are in front. In the 36th minute, it probably could have been more for Barcelona. This is now a controversy against the Blaugrana. Tchouameni brings down Torres in behind. He gets a yellow for it. Is that a red since Torres was in on goal? Was he the last man? I guess the ref didn't think so. The ref at that point, I'm not saying that's hard to blame him, but he's probably thinking of his family. So Hernandez, with all the controversy early on and Real Madrid TV going after him the way that they did, maybe it did get to him. And maybe he doesn't want to give a red in the first half of El Clásico because who knows what that's going to mean. 42nd minute, Rafinha almost made it 4, and Rafinha almost making it, and then insert number here winds up being a trend in this game, and yet Rafinha still ends this contest with the brace, which is pretty awesome. And Lamine Yamal, yeah, he probably could have had 4 assists in this game, but Rafinha winds up taking this one over as we have a little bit more controversy to end the first half. Headline 3 is some karma makes it 4. I know I don't really believe in karma. I don't really give my personal beliefs or religious beliefs here on a podcast on YouTube. I'm too smart for that. But what I do know is that in the 43rd minute, when Real Madrid thought they'd won a penalty, it was VAR. They looked at offside and they give offside on Bellingham in the buildup. On the broadcast live, I thought it could have been Vini Jr. who was offside, but no, it's Bellingham in the buildup. And even then, if this one goes to VAR, Mbappe dove against Frankie de Jong. I say that with full voice. It was a dive by Mbappe. Hernandez gets this one right. What was interesting was how this was almost well executed by Madrid as well, by the way, too. I want to mention on the tactics, Ancelotti had this little thing, this set from the goal kicks up his sleeve. They were trying those long punts that Man City would do in years past from a stop-dead position. It was Valverde at the center of it all, along with Courtois. And with that, it was a huge risk, that being Real Madrid. Because with that long punt, you're basically conceding if that offside trap is working, that A, it's going to be an easy offside, or B, that it gives Barcelona, who are then on the front foot defending, a much better opportunity, as opposed to backtracking, a much better opportunity to step forward, win the ball, and keep up that pressure. So you're giving the ball away a lot easier, but you're also potentially getting in behind much, much quicker. So Real Madrid were willing to do that, and it winds up almost working here in the 43rd minute. But Barcelona's press was just too good, because that's what leads to the fourth goal. It's Barca's press. The minute that ball stopped, Barcelona were able to set up their pressure. The rest defense was really good today as well. And same thing I had said against Inter Milan. I know there's a lot of goals when they're conceding, but the rest defense has been good, which means their press has been good. So Vasquez gives it away to Rafinha. Torres picks up assist number 3, feeding Rafinha. And as I said, a brace for the Brazilian, who probably could have had 5 in this game, and it would have been a trio of assists for Lamine Yamal as well. But instead, it's just a trio of assists for Ferran Torres. And now Barcelona up 4-2. Valverde goes down in the first half stoppage time, limping his way to halftime, but as we know, he was able to go on and finish this game. And also, Mbappe scoring an offside goal in first half stoppage time, which was clearly offside. So after the dust was settled, after the first half, we had made some history here with the 6 goals that were scored. The last time there were 6 goals or more scored in El Clásico in the first half was 1943. That was the 11-1 that we don't like to talk too much about. In January of that year, it was actually Barcelona who had gone up 4-2 at halftime. That one ends 5-5. And then in the 1935 season, Madrid, the other historic huge win for Real Madrid in El Clásico, it was an 8-2 that was 5-1 at the half over Barcelona. Now, before I finish up this headline, back to some of the positives. I did talk about Eric Garcia, but let's talk about this through the lens of Vini Jr., because as good as Eric Garcia has been, let's give you the stats on Vini Jr. to just tell you how he's been good. Vinny in that first half had the assist, sure, but he had 0 shots, 6 passes, 0% on his dribbles, 1 of 6 duels won, and he lost possession 10 times. Eric Garcia, man, if you were not my man of the match, I think it has to go to Rafinha or Lamine Yamal. But if not those two, Eric Garcia is your man of the match. Headline 4 is historic hat trick to be forgotten. Well, I guess on goals alone, maybe Mbappe should have been your man of the match. He had a hat trick in a losing effort. And for Real Madrid, they, even more so than Barcelona, were desperate to get any points out of this match. Again, the big difference was that if Barcelona even got a draw, they would still have remained 4 points up in the Liga table. Real Madrid needed to win to cut this 1-1. And at halftime, Ancelotti went for all of it. It was Brahim Diaz and Luka Modric coming on for Güler, who I didn't have to say his name at all. Rodrigo was not fit. Rodrigo has been good against Barca in El Clásicos in the past, but he wasn't fit. So Güler got the start and was completely non-existent. Ceballos also, don't like the guy. Glad that he was at fault for that third goal that Barcelona scored. So cool. By Ceballos. And the 49th minute, it's Yamal with a first shot that's blocked and the second that goes high and wide. In the 52nd minute, Barcelona offside on a goal themselves. Hold-up play was great from Torres. Beautiful ball by him to Rafinha down the line for the Yamal tap-in. But yeah, clearly offside. Rafinha almost a whole body. And then 54th minute, Inigo Martinez gets a yellow for kicking Bellingham's hand. Bellingham, he had to work really hard in this match. He also, as I said, had to sit from a deeper position. So while Real Madrid were taking risks going forward, if they're going to sit in basically a medium to low block, that means Bellingham can't really get involved in this game. So that was the risk and reward, that you kind of lose Bellingham here. And he had some moments there in the second half, but he had so much work to do, and he was constantly swarmed whenever he touched the ball. 56th minute, Mbappe doesn't miss by much. And then Barcelona, They bring in a few subs because Kubarsi's day is done. He looked injured while coming off, but I think he might be okay. Christensen and Balde on for Martin and Kubarsi. And Araujo, I think, doesn't see this game because A, Barcelona wanted with a lead up by 2 goals at that point. They wanted more control. So you bring in the better ball playing center back in Christensen. And Araujo would also probably ruin his chance of getting this game when he picked up a yellow from the bench in the first half. And then it was nice to see Balde return as well because he almost immediately had a long run that reminded everybody, yeah, Barcelona missed him for those 2 legs against Inter Milan, despite the 2 assists from Gerard Martin in the second leg. Christensen also makes an immediate impact as well with a big block on Vinny Jr. in the 61st minute. And I'll also take this time to mention, with the subs coming on, things got a bit unbalanced, but Pedri and De Jong I didn't talk too much about. They were better in the midfield today. I talked about Ceballos and Valverde and Bellingham. Well, I know Olmo was kind of held out of this game with Valverde marking him, but that meant that it was more of Pedri and De Jong on the ball, and Pedri was Pedri, and De Jong was as good as De Jong has been this season. I've said it before in the past, and I'll say it again. Yeah, he was a little bit whiny, and there were some moments from De Jong in the second half, but he had some really important interceptions. He was tiptoeing in the past around that box, and he wouldn't go in for the tackle because he didn't want to commit the penalty. But under Hansi Flick, I think he's willing to take those risks, that there's some institutional trust that his offense, and that being the Barcelona forwards in front of him, can score enough goals. So I think Frankie de Jong defensively this season has been much more aggressive, and that has supported him as a player. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. This is, I think, not only by a little bit, this is by far Frankie de Jong's best season in a Barcelona uniform. 69th minute, it's another opportunity for Barcelona from the foot of Rafinha to Torres, but he just couldn't control it. And you felt like Barcelona still wasted chances were keeping Madrid in this match. And they wind up pulling one back in the 70th minute, the hat trick for Kylian Mbappe in transition again. This time, it's Inigo Martinez. Hasn't made a lot of mistakes this season, but he gives it away. And Modric, with his quality, gives it to Vinny Jr., who finds Mbappe on the squared ball. Easy goal for Real Madrid. And a hat trick for Mbappe in a losing effort, which means because Barcelona wound up winning this game, I get to give you the fun stats. And they are fun because they're losing effort hat trick stats. He's only the 3rd ever player for Madrid in an away Clásico to score a hat trick. It's Ferenc Puskás in 1963, and it's Karim Benzema in 2023. That's it. So a pretty good list, but the difference between those two and Mbappe is it winds up being in a losing effort for the Real Madrid for today. Remember, he did the same thing in the World Cup final with France. So Mbappe, you were the big move, but he hasn't beaten Barcelona in El Clásico yet, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Headline 5 is not a Clásico without controversy. Well, yeah, if you thought the Tchouaméni bringing down Torres or the Frankie de Jong handball earlier were controversy, the end of this game has more than you could possibly want. De Jong is arguing a foul that was called against him for Real Madrid when Lamine Yamal winds up picking it up in the 73rd minute. He's stopped by Courtois, but yeah, Lamine Yamal, if you're going to have Frankie de Jong complain and Madrid's still wondering, then have one, young fella. In the 74th minute, Rafinha has another one, but this is a miss on an empty net. Should have scored this one. Lamine Yamal finds him at the back post on what was a delicious cross. And while the counting stats won't support Lamine Yamal today, boy, was he good. The 120 minutes at that point, though, in the match, I thought were starting to show a little bit. A Tuesday match against Inter Milan, 120 minutes, and the same starting lineup that Hansi Flick went with then, he goes with today, which you did feel like things could get ugly if those subs didn't come on right. And in the 77th minute, they do. Fermin Lopez and Hector Fort on for Olmo and Eric Garcia, which made sense. Those two were gassed. The 79th minute, it's Lamine Yamal again terrorizing that Madrid back line. And Fran Garcia in particular just could not defend Lamine Yamal 1v1. We knew that. And Lamine Yamal forces another Courtois save. And then Torres gets his shot blocked on the second effort. Tchouaméni, the appeal for a handball. Here's some more controversy. On second look, that's definitely a handball. It is a short distance. But even a short distance, I thought his arm was extended. They say no penalty, but on this one, I disagree with the VAR and the referee. There are so many instances here where even at that short distance, if that's your only argument, his arm was fully extended here. And it winds up being a ball that is going to be on frame. I do know what Real Madrid TV is going to complain about in this match, but I'm going to be pretty frustrated when I see all those Real Madrid fans not bring this one up, or they just throw this one off and say, oh, it was too close. It winds up not being a handball because of the distance. No, this is a handball, and I think this is a miss by Hernandez. 87th minute, I want to shout out Hector Fort here because, yeah, he's been shaky as an 18-year-old, but he's had some big moments here in this second half of the season that he didn't in the first half. And I was worried that without minutes, he wouldn't be ready, but It's El Clásico, when Hansi Flick trusted him, throws him on the field, has told him all season long he has confidence in him, and he has a really important poke here, as I said, in the 87th minute against Mbappe. So it's a small little move, but it has big consequences because I think it saved a goal there. 88th minute, Gavi on for Torres to close things out. Vinny Jr. is off too for a youngster from La Fabrica in Victor Munoz, who immediately comes on and immediately shoots one to the moon in transition. And I think Vinny Jr. probably finishes that, but he limps off and cannot finish this match. And that is a huge moment for Real Madrid. Mbappe is also onside in the 91st minute, and this is where Szczesny had to make his huge save. Do I think Barcelona need to upgrade their goalkeeper in the summer? Yes, I will be talking about it plenty, but fortunately for Barcelona, Szczesny makes the big save when he has to here, and Christensen was also putting pressure on the shot, and Barcelona get it clear for a corner. Offside on the ensuing corner as the ball is back in the net against Barcelona. Mbappe was clearly offside after Tchouaméni won the header. And the 95th minute, here's some more controversy, but this one against Barcelona. Probably should have been 5-3 here. Fermin Lopez puts it on ice, starts at the corner flag, wins it back, that being Fermin Lopez, comes inside and keeps it moving to his right against Modric, who just doesn't have the legs to stop Fermin Lopez. Then he finds the bottom corner. VAR checks it for a handball in the buildup against Fermin, saying the handball helped him get past Valverde. I guess so. Fine. Fine. Barcelona fans can argue about it, but I'm not going to argue about any of the controversies from the referee because Barcelona won the match. So if it had been a different result, I would probably have a different tune, especially, as I said before, what I thought was a handball against Tchouaméni. But for all the controversy for Barcelona, you survive it. I'm not going to scream robbery, anything like that, because Barcelona wound up winning this game. If the referee and La Liga and all that really wanted to rob Barcelona, well, they wouldn't have won the match. So not only do they get the 3 points here, not only are they likely going to win La Liga, they've got one hand on the trophy, but this is also historic because it's 4 wins against Real Madrid in a single season. That is very, very rare. The last time they did that was the 82-83 season when they went 4-1 against Real Madrid because they also played the Copa de la Liga. So that time they were not undefeated against Real Madrid. This is an undefeated 4-0 against Real Madrid. And you could argue 3 of those wins won them trophies this season. The Spanish Super Cup, the Copa del Rey final, and now this really did give Barcelona La Liga. They certainly should get 3 points against Espanyol. Juan Garcia, best case scenario, Juan Garcia, he tries to have a good game against Barcelona. They say, all right, we're going to put enough past you that we want to buy you. I don't know what that is, but Espanyol obviously is not going to hand that kind of keeper over to Barcelona. But yeah, winning against Espanyol, against first your big rivals in El Clásico and then your local rival in the Catalan Derby, that would certainly, as I've said many times, be a delicious end to what has been a tremendous season. And even if it's not Espanyol, they're 7 points up with 3 matches left. Villarreal and Athletic Club, I know it's a little more difficult, but Barcelona get results against Villarreal. And if it comes down to the final match day against Athletic Club, hey, go and take care of business, Barcelona. For Madrid, they've got Mallorca on Wednesday, then Sevilla and Real Sociedad. So a little bit easier for Real Madrid, but I don't know. Real Madrid are not as good as Barcelona, so maybe it isn't as easy for them. I do have some questions about whose last Clásico this might be. Lewandowski didn't get off the bench, so now he's trailing in a Pichichi race to Mbappe, but I don't think this is Lewandowski's last El Clásico. And as far as the rest of the Barcelona players, I don't know. Maybe it's Gerard Martin's last, but yeah, again, even that I don't know about. Frankie de Jong, maybe. But what we do know is for Real Madrid, we do say goodbye to maybe some more players than Barcelona in El Clásico. Certainly to Luka Modric, who is signed just to the end of the Club World Cup this summer. And I say good riddance, but I say good riddance with respect. It's good riddance because he wears white, but it's also good riddance in respect because he was the best player for Real Madrid in the last maybe 7-8 years of El Clásicos. Luka Modric is him, and I am kind of happy to see him leave because as far as this game, even in the second half, it changed when he came on. And I don't think Real Madrid have enough institutional stuff until they bring in somebody else to replace him and Toni Kroos. I think Barcelona is still on the front foot against Real Madrid. And I wonder about Vinny Jr. Was this his last El Clásico? It would have been Araujo if he had come in, but he didn't see the field. But Vinny Jr. and Araujo, I don't know if their matchup that we've talked about last season with Araujo at right back and Vinny Jr. on the left, that rivalry and matchup seemed to define El Clásico in the past, but it might not in the future. This might be the last El Clásico for Vinny Jr. as well. Before I go, I want to finally also mention that the Barça Femení, they took care of business and they have won Liga F today. So congratulations to the Barça Femení. That one felt a bit like a foregone conclusion, but now they will have the Champions League final against Arsenal in a few weeks' time. I will have a watch along pending internet and all those different things. I will not be at home for both Espanyol, and then I will not have a watch along for Villarreal, and then you will see me again for the Barca Femenines final on that Saturday against Arsenal. So that is what's coming up on the docket. Congratulations to the Femini, as I said, as well. Please join me for the remaining watch alongs that we'll have. Again, subscribe on YouTube, follow on social media so you don't miss when I'm going to have one and when I'm not. Things are a little shaky here as my schedule has gotten quite busy. But again, subscribe, help me out, because we're already looking ahead a little bit to transfers and next season with, as I said, one hand on that Liga trophy for what would be Barcelona's third big domestic trophy this season. Boy, it is a good time to be a Culé. And as always, until next time, Forza Barca.